Yeah.
And speaking of bad, let's hear this ad read.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me switch off of the Ranger class.
Yep, good call, good call, good call.
Are you tired of living in the dark? Do you crave the pure, radiant light of absolute control? Well, you're in luck because the Illuminate are here to make sure your day shines as brightly as a supernova and your enemies won't know what hit them. With the Illuminate, you'll never have to question your purpose again. Join the elite, where light means more than just visibility. It means victory. Equipped with the state-of-the-art solar-powered weaponry, you can ensure that everyone in your path is bathed in the glow of your superior firepower. With the Illuminate, we bring the sun to your enemies, whether they want it or not. Flashbangs? Please. Dazzle grenades? Nah, we've got something better. The light of the righteous that cuts through the darkness of their existence. Want to shine brighter than the rest? Join the Illuminate today. Embrace radiance, embrace control, and most importantly, never trust the shadows. Because when you're the Illuminate, there's no such thing as hiding. The Illuminate, not just a faction, it's the future of enlightenment.
Join them now through the black hole of democracy. We created it, but it's going to be fine. Super Earth told me that it's going all okay, so I trust them. Nothing bad can happen. Ha 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 ha. That was the song I wrote for Super Earth. My Helldiver's musical name is actually Blavid Blowy. So, yeah. I've favored my way to the top. That's all I'm going to say.
Favored your way. Do the Illuminate even have genitals? Is my question.
Well, that's how I got to the top with my music career. You know, I'm still working on, getting on the good side of the Illuminate, I mean, I'm standing in the middle of those fucking cities, just on my hands and knees, begging,
Yes, I do know. I'm not usually begging for anything except for, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me.
Please. Another laser beam just tore my fucking building. That was my cover. The amount of times I'm reloading something behind a building and it's just like, that didn't matter. That building's gone, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Beard had a fight the other day. We were doing, we were two-manning the beginning part because people were joining later. We were two-manning a 10, a level 10, super hell dive.
Yeah.
And we were doing the artillery. And I mean, you looked out and there was probably 6 or 7 of the fucking walkers. What are they called again?
The harvesters.
Harvesters. And dude, it's on YouTube, but this just me and him like a ballet, just like pirouetting past each other and just laser beams going everywhere. It's like, oh my God. It was terrifying. But it was really cool. It was really cool. What else is really cool, though, is this episode 133 of Just Some Gamers. Ooh, welcome in, folks, to the year 2025. The first episode recorded of Just Some Gamers in the new year. That's right, folks.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
we have made it into another year of recording. We did not quit.
No.
We're here.
Hey,
this is feeling good.
I think that's an accomplishment in and of itself. And we were pretty consistent.
We only missed 2 weeks, maybe?
I think we missed more than that.
It makes you feel good.
I think I missed more than that. I don't know if you did. Because there were a couple where we did we would do a show and then there'd be like a 2-week break. And then we'd do a show and then there'd be like a 2-week break. So
yeah, I don't do a single show without you, buddy.
Yes, you did a game show. You did a game show without me.
Okay, well, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, cool. And the man I'm thinking, of course, is the effervescent Russell.
Venerable ELMMERFUDD, dude. Every time you introduce me, I feel like it gets better.
It comes to me, Like, I can't come on you because we're in separate states, but that's the closest I can get,
Hey, just send it in the mail. You work in the postal service.
Yeah. I think that's fine. People send come in the mail all the time.
Yeah. I'll just show up with icing on my face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Toaster strudels again, Russ? God, dude, how many could one man eat?
You'll never know.
I do love toaster strudels, though, if we're being honest.
So here's the thing, though.
Okay.
Toaster strudels are either really good or not.
Nah,
right?
it's
There's
not,
really
no, not
there's
true.
really not in between, and it really depends on the filling that's in them.
What's your favorite filling then?
I think I got to go with like strawberry.
The strawberries and cream one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's classic.
Yeah. The chocolate one, like if you can find them, are pretty good too, though.
They are pretty good. But yeah, I usually the strawberries and cream is my go-to. It's so good.
The only thing with toaster strudel is sometimes they don't get the icing, so there's just like a pocket that's like the size of a quarter in the middle that has icing in it, and you're like, where is the icing on this thing?
And if you don't
Where's
cut it,
not the icing? Where's the filling?
yeah,
on this thing?
yeah. You take one bite, you're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when you get like a sandwich from McDonald's and like all the mayo is on a giant, like all of it for the whole sandwich is in one bite, and he's like, there it is.
I can't tell you the number of times that's happened where it's just
Almost
like
every
you're
time.
and most of the time though it happens with the ketchup because I'm like, where is there any condiment on here? And then you're like, oh, all ketchup.
And then
Sometimes you go to
spews out the
McDonald's.
back.
And it's the same. It's the same with all fast food, really, because Wendy's is the same too. Where you're like, where's the mayonnaise? And then all of a sudden you're like, there it is,
And it's on your hand, it's on your cheeks. Oh yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
Ugh, brutal. Well, how was your New Year's, buddy?
It was pretty good. I mean, I hung out with you
That's true.
most of it.
We've been
Yeah.
hanging out a lot the
Yeah.
last week.
We've been on Star Citizen just about every day.
For a long time. There was that accidental 8-hour stream.
Was it accidental? Because you said all day, so I just anticipated that it was
wasn't
going to be
accidental.
all day.
It makes it sound better as a father when I say accidental. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. I got. Oh, okay.
Ooh, but that was definitely planned. Yeah. That was such a good day. But
That
yeah,
was a
you're
good
right. We've been playing every during the day or every night, man. It's been great.
At least for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I mean, usually it's you'll text me and be like space, and I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. Just give me a second. But it's been a lot of fun. Like we've done some really fun mercenary missions, some that we haven't run into yet, and it's been a good time. We've had a couple of people that pop into the stream too, right? Because you'll just be on Discord. And, Beef has been enjoying it. I know. Anthony jumped in there for a minute just to kind of watch us do crap and die and blow ourselves up on planets.
That's true. And it was fun New Year's Eve, like, when the East Coasters hit. Because like I left a couple hours early so I could go watch all the, the ball drop and the New Year's Eve with Ryan Seacrest and the Nashville one, which was really good too, with the kids and have that fun. But like, we hit 10 o'clock my time, which is mountain. So, everyone on the East Coast to hit it. So it's just fun. We had like a rotating group of people that just like popped in while we were flying. Happy New Year! And then
New Year!
And like someone else popped in, Happy New Year! And leave. It was pretty funny.
Fun.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed getting to spend time with you. I always love getting to spend more time.
And I love it. And just being able to play Star Citizen again. I haven't been able to play it for 2 years. So having a PC that can run it again makes me really happy. And a lot of great changes, which we talked about in our accidental Star Citizen episode, which I think we'll have to do an update sometime.
Yeah.
I want to jump into 4.0 at some point, and that way we can do an updated video or an updated podcast episode where we've actually played it now instead of just being like, I've heard.
Right.
So
yeah. I think that's a really good idea because it is a lot of fun and a lot has changed. I'm really enjoying it right now because it is relatively stable. We've run into some issues, some frustrations, but for the most part, you're at least able to get some stuff done.
Absolutely.
And it's not been godforsaken no man's land.
But yeah, that's been really fun. But what else is fun, Russell? Well, it's not something I've personally experienced, right? Minus starting at one point in time for like 5 minutes. But something else that's very fun for a lot of people. And it's lucrative, successful, self-fulfilling, is writing books.
I hear there's some really good authors out there.
Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson, Michael J. Sullivan.
Absolutely. Jesus H. Christ.
Jim Butcher.
Yep. Dan Aykroyd. He wrote a good book.
I haven't read his book.
It's really good.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to give it a shot.
You should.
Yeah.
My uncle, we talked about that. His book was really good as well.
I have it. I ordered it.
Did you really? You bought my uncle's
Yeah.
book? Oh, that
Yeah,
dude.
I have it.
Thank you. That's
Yeah,
so
absolutely,
dude, that's
man.
so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll
I
have
love
to
to
let me know what
support
you
new
think.
authors.
Yeah.
Okay. I've read a couple, right, because it's snippets of poems and things like that. So I've read a couple of things. That's good. I liked it. I mean, I don't have the same context, right? Because it's written from like a seafarer's perspective. But I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Well, instead of like oceans and boats, just change the words to space.
Sure.
And
oh yeah,
spaceships.
yeah.
And you'll
There you
have
go.
that experience. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Star
it's the same
Citizen.
thing. Yeah, exactly. His actual work in the Navy, I think, absolutely correlates with playing Star Citizen, the video game.
You know, I could see that from a certain perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, they're basically the same thing.
Like he worked on submarines, and his favorite joke was always submarines. 40 sailors go out, 20 couples come home.
It took me a second on that.
It took you a long second.
Yeah. Well, I was reading Kmart, and then I came back to this, and I was like, 20 couples, 40.
Oh, yes.
Wink.
Nudge and nudge. But you had mentioned that you had another little snippet from the book you wanted to read.
Yeah.
It's been very popular. We've been getting some awesome feedback about your book.
That makes me feel good. It does. It really does make me feel good, especially as this is the first manuscript I've gotten any traction with.
Yeah.
So it's really my first foray into doing this. So lots of revisions. Lots of that didn't work. I need to redo that.
Is especially with the last few days of us playing a bunch of Star Citizen, right? Is the fact that like you are so into the craft, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have, I want to spend this much time every day writing. And this is, I would not have this strength, right? Because I was like, hey, Russ, let's play some Star Citizen. And you're like, I want to so bad, but I haven't done my writing time today. He denied video games to make sure he got his writing time down. That is how focused this man is. And I'm proud of you for that, dude. I hella respected that.
It's a struggle sometimes for sure.
Oh, 100%.
But it's also like the more I've gotten into it, and the more when I'm more consistent with it, it's actually something I really love. And it's kind of gotten to the point to where I'm like, if I don't get my writing time in, I'm like, I've got to do this, because it is, that joy that you get from playing a video game, right?
Yeah.
And developing like your own character and your own thing and your own story. I mean, that's part of the draw for me. And then being able to do that in this setting is always. It's fun, right? Because there's that sense of discovery where I'll go, oh, okay, this like I've written something and I'm like, I think this would be really cool. Like I'm excited to write this, and so I get excited to write those things. So yeah, Gator, I thought you knew I was writing a book. I can't tell if he's being sarcastic or not.
I've never known Gator to be sarcastic ever, so probably not.
Yeah, just like that wasn't sarcastic. But yeah, I've got a chapter.
A whole fucking chapter?
Yeah, it's only like 2,000 words.
Buckle up, children. I may have to do a favor for Beef halfway through, and you know what I'm talking about.
All right.
Take it away.
All right, buddy. All right. Here. Okay. I want to be able to see.
Watching a million tabs open right now in his glasses.
Moving tabs around.
Yeah. That one had boobies on it.
Well,
yeah, a little alone time.
You gotta make it happen sometimes.
100%, dude. The second the family leaves the house, pants are off.
All right. This is chapter 1. I've read a piece of this already, but this is revisions. And this is pretty close to what the final chapter will be. Yeah, sit back, relax, close your eyes, enjoy my dulcet, silky tones. Kmart says to take your pants off.
Oh, right. Let me do it.
Yeah.
All Anyway, I'm setting.
Hey, buddy.
Go ahead. No suspenders required.
It makes me think of the game show every time. Okay. Chapter 1 of The Empire of Dusk and Ruin. Chapter 1. The End.
Oh, well, all right. That was easy. All right, let's jump into the game awards.
That is the name of the chapter.
Oh, sorry. That's my bad.
The name of the chapter is The End.
Oh, okay, got it. So I'm getting real mixed signals here.
All right. It stank, the cloying sour scent filling his mouth with bile, making him wake, coughing, retching. Smelled of blood, sweat, shame. The Ascendant City smelled like a whore, a cheap one. While the sun was up, it smelled sweet, of dreams, of desire. During the day, the sun burned off all the excess stink. Bloated corpses were cleared away from the canals, blood splashed on stone was washed away. Criminals and Vesper addicts crept back to their shadows, but in the dark, the stink crept in with the fog and the nightmares. And it was always dark and flotsam. They were buried, forgotten, left to rot beneath this dung heap of a city. The greatest city in all the domains, the shining citadel, the light on the mountain, the ascendancy. Bass pulled the collar of his rat-eaten coat to his face, sniffed, or maybe the smell had been him. He sat up, wiped the spittle drooling from the corner of his mouth with a trembling hand. It was sandpaper, agony, the sound hammering in his ears as his fingerless glove scritched across his 5-day-old stubble. He clenched his eyes shut, wincing, fighting to hold on to the contents of his stomach as the pain made him nauseous. He blinked sleep-blurred eyes and squinted through the fog and the cavernous arches that supported the city above to the purple bruise of the twilight sky. He had only been passed out for a few hours this time, not long enough. He hadn't been able to afford the usual gas that would have seen him through another day, another night. The malice of half-remembered nightmares floated to the fore of his mind, wailing cries, a wicked smile, crimson skies burned black with smoke. He shuddered and quickly pushed the thoughts aside. He needed more slumber, more money, more. He pawed in his threadbare jacket, fumbling through the shreds of what remained of its inside lining. Maybe there was something that hadn't been stolen or pawned, but all he found were empty pockets and handfuls of despair. He sighed, rolled to his side. The smell grew sharper, more revolting. He had been lying in a puddle of his own sick. It stuck to his woolen peacoat, pulling away in stringy ropes as he sat up. He retched. Smell had definitely been him. He'd need to go out into the dark, searching, hunting. Maybe he could make it to the gardens tonight. If he got there before the trundle trolley got around, maybe he could find the treasures in the bins. A stained silken cloth, a button or two off a fine coat. With that, he could see himself tucked away in a nice little slumber den instead of the cold streets for a couple of days, a couple of nights. Away from that bloody golden grin. Bass brushed the rubbish away that he had used to cover himself earlier that day. Curled around the half-gasp of slumber, he managed to scrounge up. The alley was long, narrow, winding its way drunkenly between the rows of decrepit warehouses that made up the bowels of the Ascendant City.
Just taking a sip.
Sorry. It was a safer spot than most, especially if one were willing to risk the knife instead of the club. The watchmen didn't descend this far into Flotsam unless they had to. Too many run-ins with the knuckle dusters. Too much blood spilled on both sides. They let the gangs police their own. Besides, no one else would dare to pause out of doors this close to the Vespers' polluted Elysian. The Crocs and worse were known to pull themselves out of the sludge for a bit of hunting. Bass didn't mind. Sometimes he didn't want to wake up at all. Might be better that way. He stood, the firework cracks and pops of stiff joints echoing off cold stone. Bass saw him step from the shadows cast by the sinking sun, not here, then there, suddenly, immediately, from existence to non-existence in the blink of an eye, a darker shade hidden within the night that descended around them, barely discernible in the rising fog, tall, slim,
Jesus.
Feet striking the ground, firm, confident, silent. The taste of fear washed over Bass' tongue, tangy, sweet, acidic. The man was clad in the black greatcoat and tunic of the watch. Hoarfrost cloaked his uniform, left it steaming in the muggy air of the warm summer night. He was the night. He was darkness. Blackness, interrupted only with a slash of ruby red, a scarf, turning, twisting as if caught in a non-existent gale. It shimmered like silk, like flowing water. The stranger strode toward Bast, an oncoming tide, shadows wafting off him in tattered ribbons. He twisted his hands. They whispered through the night, shaping the scarf as it flowed down and around his knuckles, forming into a dagger, glinting crimson. Not the cold white of metal. It was blood, a blade shaped of flowing scarlet blood. Bast's eyes flickered from the dagger to the man's face, pale, drawn. There was no hint of stubble. His skin shone in the dark, seeming to glow from within. He appeared young, a heartbreak shy of adulthood. His hair, longish for a man of the watch, was ink and water, black as midnight and lashing about his head like a cat's tail. His eyes shone silver, stars in a cold, dark sky. The shade stepped closer, the dagger disappearing from his hands, swift, quiet as the hush of an owl's wings, stretching, sliding back up to form the shifting scarf again. Bast fell against the wall as the man flowed toward him, shadows boiling at his back. Bast saw faces within the shadows, stretched in rictus wails, hands clasping, sharp jaws snapping. Shade dancer, he thought in horror. Shadows should not move of their own accord. They should not have hands that reach to rend, wound, tear. Unless the devil himself had finally sent one of his spawn to claim Bast. The Dark Father, Gorgonoth, had stepped straight from a vicar's sermons and the golden scrolls themselves to have him brought to his ever-darkened kingdom. Madness. It was madness. Bast shrank to his knees, his fumbling fingers drawing the circle on his forehead over and over as he spoke, stumbling through half-forgotten prayers in a puddle of his own piss. He saw the shadow reach into his cape and flick a worn leather flask to his lips. The movement was too practiced, too mechanical to be anything other than frequent. Bast saw the man pause and swallow. His eyes turned up to the darkened sky. Bast knew that pause, knew that moment of bliss. He had felt it every time he took a gasp. The things in the shadows surrounding the watchman spasmed, clenched, and died, faded as if they had never existed to begin with. Corvus saw the lavender stains on the man's fingers, the way his eyes drooped, and beneath the brim of his squashed derby cap his irises had the lilac tint of a slumber addict. Their eyes met, held, and locked. The demon's eyes grew brighter, larger. Bast was drowning in them, but he felt no need to pull away. There was pain, sharp, jabbing, needles piercing behind his eyes. Corvus found himself tipping, held at a moment of knowledge before he plunged into the man's soul. In a moment, Corvus knew the man, Bast. Corvus saw a broken family, an accident, bitterness, fury, envy, music, beautiful music, silence at the head of a hammer, war, hard, bitter. Heard the strangled whisper of Bast's wife telling him to get out and never come back when she caught him curled around his pipe rather than watching their child. His Ada. She had worked, slaved till her fingers cracked and bled from the lie at the wash house. Lies, theft. Hiding around a corner with a knife while a drunk man stumbled home. The grief, a mumbled promise. At the last moment, the image of his daughter's smile, the knife falling from numb fingers, weeping till the sun came up. Guilt. Shame. Falling further within the grasp of slumber. Nightmares that haunted him every night. A half-heard humming, erratic. Notes straying high and low, jagged peaks of madness. A thorny grin soaked in golden blood. A sharp, high, manic giggle. A presence, half asleep, woke up. Oh, you. Corvus fled from Bast's mind, throwing up mental barriers against the tuneless humming following him. He waved his hand over his face, fingers nearly stumbling through the complex rhythms of summoning. He slipped on the last rhythm, a flash of heat searing across his fingers, his helm sliding onto his face from the aether, a lock snapping shut on his mind. Bast felt hollow, drained.
Dude, your cough's back?
I know. No,
sorry,
it's
man.
just talking so much.
Yeah.
He shook his head as his vision cleared. There had been a blink, a beat, a rest, a moment of darkness in which Bast felt the repeated measure of something. Found himself humming slightly to himself, a song half remembered. His vision cleared. He stared disbelieving, words spilling brokenly from his mouth in abject horror. An ornate, eyeless helm, sharp and wicked, had formed over the man's features. Worse than a shade dancer or a watchman. Worse than even the Dark Father himself. An inquisitor. A raven of the watch. All Mother save him. Not here. Not now. Corvus stumbled against the stone brick wall. There wasn't time. He wasn't strong enough. His breaths came in a panicked wheeze. He clutched at the tightness in his chest. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. He wasn't prepared. The old Somniac had to die. He was a god's damned incarnate, a demigod, a child of him. He'd make it quick. It would be a mercy. Corvus flung himself forward, grasping at the lapels of Bast's coat. He slammed Bast against the brick wall, grinding him across the muck and the mildew. Bast let out a whimper, a whine of fear. It was short, a whip-crack sound that snapped in a stinging retort against Corvus's conscience. Tears leaked from Bast's eyes. He was afraid, but there was also something resigned. Bast closed his eyes, tilted his head back, exposing his throat. Ada. It was a whispered plea, a question posed to the darkness and night. Corvus slid his crimson blade home in the softness of Bast's trembling throat. Flesh split with ease against the razor-sharp edge of the blade of ice, and blood parting like a silken curtain. But Bast's life refused to end. His blood refused to flow. The ice that rimed his dagger began to melt. There was a flick, a mental retort that rang across Corvus's will with the chime of a bell. Left him stunned, momentarily blinking his eyes against the pull of an alien mind. In that moment, he lost control of the magic holding the dagger of his blood together. It fell apart slowly, dripping into long, stringy ropes of ichor. But rather than falling to the earth, they flowed straight into Bast. Bast was eating him, consuming him and his magic. Bast was dead. Thought he was. Must be. The blade had sliced cleanly. He had felt it sliding into his throat, his last thoughts of Ada. He felt good, felt strength flowing into him. It was dark, terrible, delicious. Blood flowed into him. His eyes snapped open. He saw the shadow, the devil in the faceless, shining helm. He felt anger, hatred. But the feelings were not his. They radiated from somewhere deeper, something that looked through his eyes. He, Bast, was afraid, terrified. He reached out, grabbing at the specter's coat, clasping it in a desperate fist. In a panic, he swung his arm, unpracticed, untrained, hopeless, his forearm a club. It struck the raven in the face and blasted him across the alley. He struck the opposite wall with enough force to shatter the stone, dust and bits of brick raining down around them. Bast fell to the ground, still holding a piece of the Inquisitor's uniform in his hand, a ragged, torn piece of wool, shining with silver buttons. Bast looked at the shade, at his hand, at the shade. Where in the empty throne did that strength come from? What in the God Kagan's name had just happened? Felt that something still staring out, pushing, straining for him to attack, to end it. It promised, pled, begged. It was akin to a part of him he hadn't felt in a long time, not since the war. The warrior, the beast. But Bast didn't want that. Didn't want what it promised. He wasn't a fighter, wasn't a killer. He was frightened, and he made a promise. Never again. Bast ran. The end. The end.
Yeah, the end of the chapter.
The end. Yeah.
Buddy, I could listen to you say, was it Trunder Trolley, whatever that was?
The Trundle Trolley.
I could listen to you say Trundle Trolley all day.
Just Trundle Trolley.
Just
Nothing
Trundle
else,
Trolley.
just Trundle Trolley.
That was awesome. Yeah, I remember you reading that, like different pieces of that before, but to have all of it put together like that and the flow of it and like, oh, yeah. It's improving, dude.
Thanks. I hope so.
The thinking he died and then adding delicious in there, I was like, whoa, that's an approach. I dug that a lot.
I hope. I like the it's definitely dark.
Yeah.
And it's meant to feel dark.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's, again, there's so much high fantasy out there, and, it's nice to have that, dark fantasy is good as well.
I like the grimdark. It's a little less. It's probably a little less grimdark and more high fantasy meets grimdark.
Yeah. But I'm using the high fantasy in the terms of like frolicking through fields of elves and oh, joyous day, magic waterfalls that flow backwards.
I guess when I think of high fantasy, I think of like magic being readily available.
Yeah,
to
for sure.
Most people.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Snoop Dogg's writing a high fantasy book. Pretty excited about that.
Is he really?
Yeah. But it's high fantasy. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, I don't know how I didn't see that.
Right into my trap.
Yeah, I should have seen that coming.
Well, what you can see coming is the topic at hand, buddy. You ready to jump into this?
Yeah, I think we actually had a topic for our podcast. Other
We
than
do.
Me just sitting here and reading.
But it's, if you want to do guys, when his book is done, we're going to do a 24-hour episode where he just reads the whole book. And it's going to be behind a paywall.
Probably not for lots of reasons.
Yeah, that's true. Your throat couldn't handle that. That's what I said. Anyway, so as the first episode of 2025, we wanted to go over our own little game awards, things we stuck out to us as gamers and whatnot for the year 2024 as we were exiting out of it. Overall, I must say, fantastic year for gaming. We
really
had,
was. Yeah.
There was definitely those couple years before that where you felt, the remnants of what COVID did to game development. And 2024 kind of feels like the first year where we're really past that. Everyone is able to be, at full peak capacity, getting their shit done and games launching. And it's just some fucking incredible games launched this last year.
Well, and I feel like, because it was all, I feel like most of the stuff was really later in 2025, was a lot of the big titles in 2024. What year is it? Right?
Yeah, we're already 2 years in here. 2 years.
I know.
We're already a quarter of the set. Fuck me sideways. Shut the fuck up, Ross.
I have seen a lot of this is coming in 25 and this is coming in 26. So
Yeah.
I think pace is only going to pick up, which hopefully that'll see a lot of reestablishment of some studios that we like.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to use basically the narrative, everything you'd set up for the night, right? Because the idea was popped and you wrote a whole thing about it, and I respect that.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
You're doing your part, and I'm proud of you.
Occasionally.
So let's start.
So, question real quick.
Yeah.
So we do have some questions that were placed in Just Some Gamers.
Correct.
Do we want to do the topic and then do the questions last?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, because if we do the questions now, we're going to be 2 hours into the podcast before we start actually doing the podcast.
Fair. Now here's a question. Do we want to start at the bottom of the categories and then work our way up?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Absolutely.
Look, that we get along so well.
We're there, dude. Yeah, our brains are intertwined. Dude, our brains are scissoring.
Maybe
constantly.
too much.
I don't know if it's too much. It feels good. I'll tell you what right now.
You feel good.
I do feel great, buddy. Starting from the bottom of the list, though, we do have, which is a very fun one because we've had some incredible things coming from this category, especially the last 3-4 years, is indie games. Smaller studio stands out for its innovation, creativity, or impact in the gaming industry. Indie games of 2024. Obviously, we had the Balatro that won a bunch of awards.
Right.
I haven't touched it, but that's
I haven't
like
either.
Those
So
one-man group, or like when Valheim hit, that was 3 people and absolutely incredible. I love these games that are hitting such huge strides and becoming on the that are on the main stage alongside these Triple H studios. I don't know if I played, to be honest. I don't know if I played a lot of indie games in 2024.
And so honestly, I'm looking at the list to try to figure out what games I played.
Because your Lamb game came out 23, right?
It didn't come out this year. Yeah. And now, if we want to go the route of Elden Ring, we could always throw the expansion in.
Yeah, fuck you, dude.
I will say, so I might be cheating a little bit on this one, but I might just go with the one that I'm most excited to play since I haven't had a chance to play any of them yet. Although, okay, there might be a couple here that I want to talk about.
Okay.
I do want to play because I want to try Balatro. I've heard good things about it.
I've heard very good things about it. It obviously won a shit ton of awards.
Yeah, I mean, a fun gameplay loop, right? But I think Nine Souls actually looks really interesting too.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
I have not. I'm going to look this up real quick.
So I'm always a sucker for a side-scroller platformer.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is a little bit of Hollow Knight, a little bit of Sekiro, so it's got kind of that Dark Souls flavor to it, that roguelike. And a little bit of Metroidvania thrown in. The art is gorgeous. So I would probably have to go with something like that. Because like I'm a real big fan of side scrollers like that. Death's Gambit, Dead Cells, all very good games and games that I play a hell of a lot of. So Nine Souls is probably the next one that I'm going to try out.
Okay. Yeah, for me, for indie game, this is one I watched quite a bit of. I definitely want to play it. But Pacific Drive.
That one, see, that was the other one I was thinking of.
Yeah, that
Pacific
looks
Drive
really
looks like a lot of
good.
fun.
A survival driving indie game set in the Pacific Northwest, combining elements of Stalker, Jalopy, and Control. As a silent driver, you maintain and upgrade your magical car as you deal with strange phenomena in hazardous environments, unraveling the story behind the disaster as you go. Graphically, gorgeous, right? The idea of just being your car and upgrading as things go wrong. And like the soundtrack was great. The environments were beautiful. Like it was when things weren't going absolutely nuts, just the vibe when it was like quiet of just like driving in the rain was just like, oh yeah. I watched a lot of that. I was very impressed.
Well, it's an interesting and very unique premise too, right? You have this car that is your main base. Like that's everything. And you're going out and investigating these weird anomalies. It is definitely one that I want to pick up and I want to play when I have some more time
100%.
because it looked really, really good. Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's in early access, isn't it?
Is it?
Has it been
I don't know.
full release yet?
I've watched a ton of it. I don't know if I never saw if it was early access or full release, but it doesn't say on here. Either way, early access or not, man, that's my pick. It was the main indie game that caught my attention and I watched a ton of.
Sure. No, I get that.
All right. We have best multiplayer experience. I think we both are going to have the same answer here. Acknowledging the best online or local multiplayer gameplay, focusing on co-op, competitive modes, and community engagement, especially with community engagement, having great online presence. For me, I mean, it's Helldivers 2.
I think I would agree with you. I think that Helldivers 2 as a multiplayer game and as a surprisingly as a live service game,
correct,
has done something amazing with what they've put out. They care about the community. They listen to the community. They, I mean, it's kind of a roller coaster, right? But most of that is they're trying to find that middle ground where, okay, we want, and I think this is a lot of it, right? They want to pull more towards that realism, and the guns working in a realistic way. And I think sometimes that takes some of the fun away, right? But they have always gone, you know what? We can see that people aren't having as much fun as we thought they would with this. So we're going to change it up because it seems like the fun.
Oh, I lost you.
Oh,
we're back.
And it's just so much fun to play with other people.
Well, that's the thing.
So much fun to play with other people.
Is like you're saying, especially with the community engagement, like the fact they had an idea of what they wanted the game to be. And when they started going that way and the community was like, actually, we're not big fans of that. They're like, all right, we'll just, there was one patch I remember making a video about it where it's just like everything's buffed patch, like everything is viable.
Yeah.
It was really fun having people jump into the game and be like, all right, what should I be using? You're like, whatever you want. Like
Yeah.
you're going to find, there's certain things that are great for everything, but for the most part, anything you bring is going to be helpful for the team. And
Right.
yeah, the ongoing galactic story, right, that goes on absolutely has hooked people into it. The humor of it, right? The for Super Earth, liberty, democracy, you know, people are, I hear that shit in other games now because of it, you know, but just that, you know, we had that Malevelon Creek, you know, and that whole thing was going on, and like so many really cool story points. We made a fucking black hole out of a planet. And
Yeah, we get to participate in the story. And that is something that's not like Destiny. Like they told you were participating in the story.
Yeah.
But you didn't feel really like there was a set direction.
Correct.
And they didn't change that up. And with Helldivers 2, you actually feel like, because based on the success of the missions, you're contributing to that happening. Like if we had failed on that major order, there wouldn't be that black hole there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, another really fun thing is like the anti-tank mines. We went through 6 major orders where that was an option as a reward. And as a community, everyone went, it'd be funny if we never got this. So they purposely went the opposite direction of decision-making to make it so we didn't get them. We eventually got them. I think even to the point where they were like, you either save an orphanage or you get the anti-tank mines. And everyone was like, oh, no. It was, if we save an orphanage, we get the anti-tank mines. And if we just go do something else, we don't get them. And everyone's like, fuck those kids. Like, we're not getting those mines.
So it was get the mines or save the orphanage was what it was.
No. That made my story less funny.
But it was very funny
really
that.
But yeah, there's just that ongoing story. We had that awesome moment during the Game Awards where they came out and fucking hit everyone with a trailer where the ELMMERFUDD are here live now. Go jump in. And it like that came out very early in the year, and there's still, you know, every day there's a full group or two, at least even in my Discord. We've been borderline 3 groups, you know, like the amount of people that are constantly in and out and checking things out and coming back with updates, and like they've just done a very good job of making a successful live service multiplayer experience. Bravo.
Well, and I mean, they give you enough. They haven't been drip feeding us content, right? It has been something that is continuously pushed forward. There are some things that people feel like the DSG, right? Where they felt like, oh, it's going on so long. And then, but then it was like we were completing the major orders before they were really ready for us to, and pushing that narrative so far along that they kind of released it before it was really ready. And then they had to kind of like, okay, well, it's been damaged and we have to fix this, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which I love that even the things that they mess up, they find a way to tie it into the narrative. I think it's a great game. We've talked about it a ton. I think people who listen to our podcast are probably tired of hearing about Helldivers at this point, which sucks for you. But yeah, I think 100% hands down, it has my pick for multiplayer experience.
One fist up.
100%.
Yeah. Also, it was just fun during the actual Game Awards. Anytime they won, I can't remember who it was in the Discord, but every time they would, you see them screaming "Liberty" at the top of their lungs. It was so funny.
No, yeah, that was a ton of fun.
That was good. All right, next we have best audio design. We love music. You know, I'm real fickle about like gun sounds and stuff like that. You know, I love sound design. So yeah, award for the most impressive sound design, music, and voice acting. Also very important.
Oh yeah.
What do you want?
What are you going to pick?
This? For me, for audio design of the games I played this year, I'm actually going to go with Dragon Age, Veilguard. The music, absolutely incredible.
That's funny.
Yeah, very.
I was thinking the same thing.
Very good music. The voice acting, honestly, I'm very into every character. The voice acting is fantastic. I think some of the best voice acting from a BioWare game is actually the main character, which usually isn't the case. At least for the female voice I chose, right, is just Rook is an awesome character, and the voice acting is phenomenal. I've been blown away with the sound, the audio of magic, bows, swords, blocking, throwing a shield, explosions happening. Even like creepy bubbly noises and like whispers in the distance and very good audio design.
I think I agree with you. I think they did a great job, and mostly what sticks out to me is a moment early on where you're going to investigate this city.
Yeah.
Right? You're trying to get into the city, you're trying to find some people. And you come out to the city and they're like, "Oh, that's weird. The gates are locked." And then you're like, "Well, I'll just jump over this wall on the other side of the gate." And you jump over the wall and immediately the music changes.
Yes.
And immediately it shifts from, okay, well, this is weird too. Oh no, what is happening in this city? And it is such a huge change that, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It is good. I think actually though, for me, and mostly this is just so we can get some other games in here, is I think I got to go with Senua Saga 2.
Ooh, yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, 100%.
If we're talking about audio design, I think audio design may be edged out a little bit here for Senua Saga.
Yeah.
Just because they do such a good job with everything associated with that. You know what I mean? It is meant to be atmospheric and bring you in because it is such a very specific story told experience. Yeah. So I got to go with Senua Saga.
I absolutely agree. I'm basically I'm going
Hellblade 2.
specifically with games I've played. If I had played that one, I like when that won the award, I was like, oh, fucking of course. Like the first game, I've never experienced anything at such an audio level before. Like, so that it's very rare to play a game and actually like get the goosebumps in the back of your neck, and you're like, oh God, what's happening? Yeah. It's not just my own voices in my head. Yeah, absolutely incredible work by that.
Things are happening.
Next, we have Best Art Direction, celebrating the visual aesthetics of a game, including its design, animation, and artistic style.
Yep, I've got my pick for this one.
Do
you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
And if I start to say it and it's the same one you have, jump in with me, okay?
Okay.
Came as a surprise later in the year, right? And it's absolutely incredible. I love the art design. It's so aesthetically pleasing. The style of it is it's just stylish. You know what I mean? The animations are fluid and gorgeous, and that's Marvel Rivals.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna
not what I was expecting, but no, it really does have a cool style to it. This would have been a tough choice if it wasn't for Marvel Rivals, which is surprising that it was my pick, but it's just such a different, just the way the art is done and the coloring is very aesthetically pleasing. It pops really well. The animations are all smooth and over the top and very, cinematic and comic booky. And it's just, as an artistic style, it's very appealing. I really dig their art style, and I'm pretty picky when it comes to superheroes.
Yeah.
Right. You got to stick with their design in a lot of places, and I think they did a good job of taking it, modernizing it a little bit, or sticking exactly with what we had and really bringing their own style to it. And I think that's the thing, right? They brought their own style 100%. To this,
which is a very tough undertaking to take characters that are especially in the Marvel universe. Like there are skins that are the cinematic universe counterpart, but still done, to the styling of what they've decided characters should look like. That's a massive undertaking, and they've done it beautifully. I really enjoy. And then I saw a screenshot for the Fantastic Four, and wowzers is all I'm going to say.
Oh yeah. Because we don't have them yet.
They're coming out soon. No, there's the art for it came out today, and oh baby. Boners.
You're looking at Sue Storm?
Oh, dude. It's not even fair. It's not even fair.
Actually, Sue Storm will be interesting, right? Because her thing is all invisibility.
Mm-hmm.
And throwing down force fields. So I'm wondering, is she going to be strategy? Or is she going to be...
I'd assume so. Would be like an interesting mix between, because she's shielding.
Tactician.
Yeah.
Tactical.
I like shielding healers, right? Because she's supposed to be kind of like that way, right? With more shields.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I could very easily see her as not a vanguard,
Not like holding shields,
probably
I mean,
not a
but like,
duelist.
throwing something at people that puts an overshield on them is what I meant.
She's got to be. I think she's got to be tactical, right? Because I think, and honestly, I mean, this is a whole other discussion. I think people do a disservice to Marvel Rivals when they call vanguards tanks and duelists DPS, and the tacticians support.
Yeah.
And it's very specific because your vanguards are not necessarily your tanks. Like, they have more health, but they're really meant to be on the front lines and in the thick of it.
Correct.
That's essentially what they are. They're not tanks in the way that you would think of them a lot, especially when you think of Overwatch.
Yeah. There's only a couple that are actually tanks if you play them that way. Yeah.
Because typically when you think of, especially like when you're thinking about Overwatch, when you think of a tank, you're thinking about somebody who's meant to take the damage so that the other team can do stuff.
Correct.
Right? Reinhardt is a perfect example of a tank. But Vanguard seems to describe them a lot better because they're meant to be on the front lines in the thick of it. And not all of them are doing, that typical tanky job of taking all the damage. Sometimes they've got a higher life total, but they're also meant to deal out a lot of damage and kind of deal with things, right?
Yeah.
And it's a similar thing with like duelists and DPS and support and tactician, right? Because they're just a little bit different, and I can see why they changed those names up because it really is a thing. But no,
100%. No,
yeah,
it's a tough thing to get people past because they're used to there being tank DPS healer, and it's like, no,
right.
There's certain things, and I would say there's certain of the air quotes DPS that are better for tanking, and yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Did you say your best art direction?
I did not.
I thought so. All right, your best art direction. Since you were shocked at mine, what is yours?
I just, it wasn't that I was shocked at it. I think it was a good pick. I just didn't think about it. Space Marines 2.
Oh my God, yes.
As my pick for art design. That game is so cool. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of fallen off a little bit. I don't think it's as popular as it was when it first came out. And I think a lot of that has to do with like the heaviness, and also like once you finish the missions and you've kind of kitted out, like you're going to repeat.
Most people leveled everything up in like a month. Yeah. And that's like, which is still, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a game that holds nothing but your attention for a month. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good game.
No. Yeah. And I think the sales were good enough. I think we're going to get another one, which I'm 100%. About.
But yeah, too many people look at something like that and go, "Well, it must have not done very good because it wasn't a 6 month, a year long game." It's like, oh, right. It held everyone for a month. That's insane.
I wonder if they wouldn't be better served turning it into like a co-op game campaign experience and making the campaign longer.
I'd be down for
like the main story missions.
But as artistic though, for art design specifically.
So we talked about this earlier, right? I'm big into grimdark stuff, right? Grimdark, gritty fantasy universes. Yes. And so Warhammer is one that's held my attention for a while because it's cool. There's a lot of something for everyone, right? If you like elves, they've got their own version of elves, which are not Lord of the Ring elves. Do not expect that. They are twisted. And the basic elves, right? Because you have dark elves too, the Drukhari, which are even worse than the actual elves. And then Harlequins, whatever.
Yeah.
But they captured it so well. And like that first mission, right? You go, you do the first mission, you're coming down and you're on the wall and you just see that wave of Tyranids coming at you. And you're shooting at them and some of them are dying and it's just awesome. Right? Or like when you first land on like the Hive City and you're looking up and you can see the Hive City ascending into the clouds, and you can look down and you can see it. Being on the ship and seeing the cathedral-like windows and space on the outside, and then when you go into like the Immaterium and the warp, and you're facing off against the Rubric Marines, and they're disappearing in that cloud of sparkly glitter. Oh man,
And the best shades of blue ever, the best shades of green, the best like, and I brought this is probably the fourth time I brought this up on the podcast, but again, as an art direction, the use of darkness as a source of light, just incredible. Yeah. Like art direction alone, that game was, well, like we did a whole episode on Space Marines 2 and 45 minutes of it was just talking about the art in it and graphically how beautiful it is, and like the color palette and the choices, and just in the campaign, let alone when you go and you can customize your own guy, and like just the visceral reaction to how things were portrayed with, graphically, and the blood, and the, when the lights are off and the only source of light you have is your fucking power sword or a little lantern in the distance, like just, definitely probably the prettiest game that launched all year.
I think so. I mean, Black Myth Wukong is a close second, but there was something about, and it's probably, I mean, bias, right? Of Warhammer being cool.
Yes.
And now it's brought into, I mean, it's been brought into games before. We have, obviously, Space Marines 1. But just seeing what they did, and then there's that moment where you have like the Lecter hunting you, and the room goes dark.
Whoa.
And you can't see them. And it's lit with like these red highlights. Oh man. Or like when you're going in and you're the Mechanicus like their laboratory, and you have the swarms of the Terminids. And they come at you in waves, wash over you, and I mean, it was just
gorgeous. Well, and again, and like
beautiful.
Like there's fire in a lot of games, right? But the flame effect in Space Marines 2 was just another level. Like that was so satisfying, and like the amount of light that protruded from flame effect, like the flamethrower and everything, and like how it tapered off as it went out, is just gorgeous, just gorgeous.
It's just it really is a beautiful, beautiful game, and with everything they told a story. They took something that we already had, like we know what a lot of things look like because they're miniatures and they're, that's been around for a long time, but being able to capture it in that space and in that way. And it looks as good as the Secret Level episode did, which
is hard to
is do. Amazing, right? I mean,
as a game we're experiencing. This there's been some gorgeous games where you go, I'm playing a cutscene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Space Marines 2 is definitely one of those where you're just like, this is literally a cutscene.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Are we ready to move on to our next one?
I think so. All right. Best narrative. Awarded the game with the most compelling story, including writing, dialogue, and character development. You want to lead us off on this one?
No, I want you to lead me off.
Okay. No, I'd like to get you off. You know what I mean?
Hey, baby.
Best narrative this is kind of a tie for me. Is that allowed?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Best narrative tied for me. As an actual story-based game, again, it's going to be Dragon Age of Elgard for me. The story was absolutely phenomenal. I really enjoyed my time in that game. Some things that really came over from the previous titles, multiple of them that really added to it. The ending was such another level that I anticipated something huge because Dragon Age always does it at the end, and it went totally different direction. Then I was just like, what the fuck? My wife is addicted to it right now. It's really fun. It's her first Dragon Age game. But yeah, the story was phenomenal. The writing, I really enjoyed the writing. All the characters were super interesting. There's obviously it's Dragon Age, so there's some really silly tropey stuff. And I know that's what everyone leached onto making articles in the game first launched. But honestly, some of the dialogue was phenomenal. Character development. there was in the classic BioWare way, there were so many of those companions or just characters you met in the story that you just assumed were one way. And then like, as you got to know them, you're like, oh, I was totally wrong about you. And you fall in love with people you thought you'd hate the whole time, you know? And then the secondary game for me is just the overall narrative is again, it's Helldivers 2. Just the overall narrative of you playing through the story as a community, pushing the Galactic War along. It's just been really fun. There's an actual narrative with the game, but also a community driven narrative alongside it. And I think that's just fucking brilliant.
Yep. I agree. I think I've got to go with Dragon's Dogma 2 on this one.
Ooh, I didn't play that.
It is, I mean, you've played Dragon's Dogma, right?
I have.
Okay. They took essentially those same things and then they really, in essence, they just kind of updated it. Changed some classes around. Because it follows the same basic story, right? Because the story that was set up in the first one was this is a repetitive story, right? Yeah. It's a cycle that continues forward on and on and on and on and on and on. So you get more of that same, but I mean, it essentially ends with the end of the world. Kind of like Dragon's Dogma did, right? Yeah. The hole opens up in the middle of the earth, you got to fall through it. And so it does kind of that same basic principle where, now it's the end of the world and you've got to protect society from it. And that's like the end of the game. But it's very well acted. I think they developed it well. They made some quirky choices, right?
But they should.
I applaud that.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that.
Did I like all the stuff that they did? No, but I thought it was cool. Like the fact that you have to travel from place to place. You can't just like fast travel is very rare. Like you just don't want to do it all the time.
Yeah.
You can take wagons, but you might get attacked in the wagons. Things like that. I mean, but it's meant to be a world in which you live in and not just something that you experience. And, I really like the voice acting. The quests were all really well done. They did some stuff where you have time limits. Like if you don't complete this in the necessary time, then that quest goes away. Like, hey, you got to go. Hey, my son disappeared out in the woods. Some wolves dragged him off. Right. Unlike most games where you could go and do 100 other missions and then you finish the game and you go, oh yeah, let me go back to that quest and rescue the boy who's been in the woods for
3,000 hours. Yeah.
He's dead now. That's the thing, right? The quest is done. He's dead. So you kind of develop this story as you go along too. And I think that's cool.
I'm glad that was your pick because that came out pretty early in the year, right?
Yeah.
I thought because I remember seeing it all over my feed. I definitely watched some. A lot of montages of people being
April-ish.
Caught out of the air,
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't hear much about it later in the year. And I totally forgot about that. I definitely want to play that game.
I think a lot of people did. I think a lot of people just kind of forgot it was there because it's really not a game that I think has a mass appeal.
Yeah. It's
Dragon's Dogma will always be a cult following.
And I like that they know that and they lean into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a very big feeling that because the guy who is in charge of it, I can't remember his name at the moment. He does like a lot of other games and is very, he's made the company a lot of money, Capcom, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I think it's one of those things where he's made them a lot of money and he goes, hey, this is part of my deal. I get to make another Dragon's Dogma game. Like, I love this game. People like it. So at least you'll make some money off of it. So it seems very much that way, right? Where this is his pet project and he makes sure that it happens.
All right. Our next section is Best Game Design, recognizing the creativity and innovation in game mechanics, systems, and user experience. I've gone first the last like 4 of them, buddy.
I'm gonna go with Prince of Persia: Lost Crown.
Ooh.
This was a really good game. This is what I'm thinking of, right? Because there were two. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure because there were two. Both of them Prince of Persia. Side scroller platformer. Very much in the same vein as like the original Prince of Persia. Lots of traps. But the combat is solid. The environments are excellent, and then the design that they incorporated into it, and the powers and abilities that you get, very Metroidvania, very Metroidvania. There was no
Hell
other
yeah,
title
dude.
for that.
No, that's fantastic.
And so you like get powers, you can go back, and it's all this one sprawling world. So you can go from one side of the map to the other, all as one thing. I'll be honest, I haven't finished it yet because I got to a point and I'm like, I don't know how to get to this place. Because they're like, you need to go and do these constellation things, and I'm like it shows me on the map where they're supposed to be, but I'm like, am I missing a power?
Yeah.
So I just haven't gone back to it yet to figure out what the hell I'm missing. Because I do want to finish it, and I do want to find out the rest of the story, because I think it's got some really cool narrative that may even bump it up on my list. But as far as design goes, it plays beautifully. And there are creative uses of the powers and things like that you can do. It's just good. It's a good game. Play it.
That's awesome, man. No, I love it's not one that's been really on the top of my radar till pretty recently. I listened to this podcast called Games Daily, and it was like at the top of all their lists for games for this last year. And I was like, all right, I guess I need to check that out. And now you just mentioned it. So that's on my list now.
And surprisingly, it's a Ubisoft game. Go figure.
Who knew? They had it in them for something. What do you know?
Yeah.
Is it the first quadruple A game? R.I.P. Skull and Bones. For me, it's going to be Astrobot. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
As a platformer itself, if you just had like regular jump punch controls, incredible platformer. But on top of it, the use of the PS5 controller and the haptic controls and the movement of it, like actually moving the controller to swing around and using the touchpad in the middle and everything, like how intricate it is with the movement of the controller and like blowing on it and shaking it and all that stuff is just phenomenal. On top of being just such a smooth, flawless experience as a platformer. It's beautiful, incredible frame rates, graphically gorgeous. All the boss fights are super fun that I've done so far. Ethan's obsessed. My wife is obsessed. I'm trying to get Izzy to try it. But yeah, game mechanics, user experience, all that good stuff. Like, it's just a beautifully put together game. And when I saw a trailer for it, I was like, this is going to be super fun. And then it won Game of the Year on top of that. And I was like, oh shit. And then the reviews were fantastic, and getting my hands on it, I'm like, yeah, I get it. There's a reason. This is a beautifully put together game. On top of just the great homage to PlayStation, which is, I grew up as a PlayStation boy. So just incredible.
And it's funny because typically like the gimmicky games for like, hey, this, because it started out as like tech demo essentially.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. The Astrobot came with the PS5 as like a very small little game that came with it, just to like teach you the fun things that some games might use, which I don't think any game except Astrobot has used really. All the things you can do with the PS5 controller, and to just be like, you know what, we're just going to make it was so popular. They're like, all right, we're just going to make it a fucking game. And they did.
I played that and Demon Souls those were the first. So the first game I played was Astrobot.
Yeah.
Second game I played was Demon Souls on PS5. Demon Souls. Baller.
The Astrobot that came with the PS5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't played the Astrobot
game, separate title. Highly recommended.
Yeah, I want to. I mean, I like platformers.
Yeah. And again, with a couple of these different sections we've had, is like the music is it's just such a fun homage to platformers in general, not just PlayStation, but just platformers. The sound design and the music, it's just chef's kiss.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
All right.
You ready for this?
Now we're at the big one.
This is it, folks. 2024, just some gamers. Again, this list is specifically games we have played this year.
Yep.
No one is rich enough in our community to play every game that launched this year, okay? This is our game of the year. The most outstanding game across all aspects. Story, gameplay, graphics, etc. The effervescent Russell.
Am I going
your game of the year 2024?
Look, I think it's obvious what my game of the year 2024 is.
Should we say it at the
I
same
don't
time?
think this is going to surprise anybody. Helldivers 2.
Helldivers 2. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah, I think I've put 500 plus hours into it. You know, I mean, if we're talking about games in which I have put the most amount of time, the only game that I've put more time into is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, but that came out years ago, so that can't count.
And that's like 800 plus hours.
Yeah. Oh, easy.
And that doesn't include PC. But yeah, I mean, Helldivers 2, it is something that has held my attention consistently. It is something that I like, you know, it is probably in my top 3 games ever.
It was on your list just this last episode or a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, I mean, because Valheim, Helldivers 2, and Red Dead Redemption 2 are the games that I probably have the most amount of time put into. Consistently, like that I go back to and that I'll replay. You know, and I realize they don't do everything right. There's that whole debacle that happened with PlayStation.
Which isn't their fault, sadly. That's just...
And I mean...
It's PlayStation's fault, not Helldivers' fault.
I don't know. I might get flagged for this. I don't get the big deal, honestly, about having to create a PlayStation account and then they made it not available in some countries and people are upset because they made it to where people in some countries can't buy the game. That doesn't make much sense to me as why people are mad about that. But
well, the main thing was that there was a large group of people that were in countries that couldn't have PlayStation accounts. And then once they made that a thing, suddenly all these people that owned Helldivers were no longer allowed to play it. And that sucks.
That's fair. And as long as they refunded them, I mean, I don't know if they did.
And that's the thing. I'll look into if they ever did that or not. I know they said they were going to, but I don't know if they ever actually did. But I know that was a big thing. Because there's a lot of people that put hundreds of hours before it got cut off. And were like, they'd probably still be playing to this day. And they just can't now. Sucks.
But
yes.
Anyway, it has a good narrative that we get to build together. It's as close as I've gotten to playing D&D in a video game.
Oh, wow. Just because
you know what I mean?
Your own story. Yeah. Well,
because you're building the story.
And every, and this is the thing that's been passed around for Helldivers the whole year, is every moment is a hero moment. There isn't an uncinematic moment in the game.
That's true. Like
all
there
500 hours that you've played is just cinematic as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Well, as an all-encompassing game, right? The gunplay, super fun, right? The comedy, the writing on the wall, hilarious, right? The narrative that the game is creating, awesome. The narrative the community is creating, awesome, right? Fucking throwing a napalm barrage in while someone else is throwing a 380, while someone else is throwing a 500 kg bomb and watching the world blow up around you. Gorgeous. What they've been able to graphically pull out of such an old engine is insane. It is a gorgeous,
crazy,
gorgeous game, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, just gameplay wise, using stratagems is so intuitive, and that's such a fun part of the game. I'd played quite a bit of Helldivers 1, and when they announced they were doing Helldivers 2, I was very excited. And when they said it was going to be a third-person game, I was like, well, I don't know if I want that. Because my whole thing, Helldivers 1 was so fun because it was the top-down thing, right? And I remember watching the first trailer, and I was like, yeah, well, I don't know, it looks okay, I guess. And like the day it launched was just... The first drop in was just like, all right, yep, they got it. They figured it the fuck out. Like This is perfect. This is everything it should. Whoever made this decision was right. It's just incredible.
I think I bought it for you, didn't I?
You did, yeah.
I was like,
it was
you
my
need to
most
play this game.
anticipated title, and I couldn't at the time afford to get it. And you were like, well, then you're playing, and you sent it to me, and I'm very appreciative of that.
Well, and it was because it was one, like, right, we had talked about it, and I knew how much you had wanted to play it, and it dropped, and I remember playing it and going, I need people to play this game with me.
Yes.
Is essentially what it was. And I was like, I need people to play this game with me. Because it was so fun. Like, it was just, and it was one that I remember seeing the trailer for it. I never played Helldivers 1, but I remember seeing the trailer for it and going, and I'm not a shooter guy, right?
Yeah. Oh no, you're not.
Like I play them, I like them, but they're not my favorites. Which is funny because RDR2 is one of my favorite games, but that's different. It's a cowboy.
It's not a shooter. Yeah.
It's a Western. Yeah. And so I remember seeing it and being like, I don't know what it is about this game, but I am here for this. Yes. I don't know what the hell is going on, but I remember seeing that first trailer and going, that looks freaking awesome. And I remember playing it, because I got it the first day. I was in there when the servers still sucked and you couldn't get in to save your life. You'd have to sit there for 30 minutes or an hour to get into the game. And just being like, this is amazing. This game is so addicting. Because the gameplay, game design, it is all there. It feels good. Like you said, throwing down the stratagems, seeing it blow up. One of my favorites is the napalm barrage.
I love the napalm barrage.
And just sitting on the edge of it and watching everything catch on fire. It is.
And that kill counter just going.
Oh man, it is beautiful.
Like, the narrative is really good, right? But it's not so much in the actual mission. The narrative matters, right?
Yeah.
So it's the sheer fact that the base game loop is so beautifully tuned that never gets old. Dropping in, looking for, some tower to raise, another one to shoot, and a little thing to blow up, and launching a missile. Like, all the base missions have been the same. A couple things have been added here and there that have been fantastic, right? But the base game loop is just so well polished that it doesn't get old. And we haven't even talked about the music for Helldivers 2. The main theme for it is incredible. With
that sting. Bum, bum, bum,
buddy, we have dropped thousands of times. And to this day, when you're dropping, everyone in unison goes, but like you bum, 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 when you're dropping, nothing hits like that. It's such a simple thing. And to have a theme that starts like at a low point and comes up for it to hit like that. Beautiful. And it's one of those that came out very early in the year also. And it's consistently, not just have I played it, but the amount of content that I've watched on it consistently through the whole year. TikToks, YouTube videos, being in a Facebook group for it and just like reading through stuff and looking at screenshots and like, I'm so consistently a part of what's happening in it. And then, just the community in my Discord alone around it has been, like when Red Dead hit, we had a massive group of people playing that. Overwatch, we had a group of people going through that. We kind of go in these ups and downs in the Discord when certain games come out. And Helldivers was one that I didn't expect. Like, I knew me and you would have a shit ton of fun, but to have, we had 3-4 groups going at a time for a while there this year.
Yeah.
And people just let me in. I want to play. It's just been consistently an incredible game for everybody.
Well, and still is, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
every day we have people that we know, that we love, that are in there playing. So there's always a group to join on.
Yeah.
Right?
You're never going to be alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent decision. Game of the year, 2024 for just some gamers. It's Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, buddy. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy you.
I enjoy you, but not as much as I enjoy our community, which did give us a couple questions for this time.
Yes, they did.
Which we very rarely get. We don't have like a section for like podcast questions where we go, what kind of hot dog would you be, Russ? Like everyone else does, Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's not something we normally do. So people have just come in and thrown a couple things our way, and I'd like to hit on those. Should we start with the old sweaty spooks, who's near and dear to our heart?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. This is one I put zero thought into because I really like doing stuff on the fly. I read it 5 hours ago.
I'm reading it now.
Perfect. Question for the hosts. If guests present, they're also welcome to join in. It's just me and you. Question, less of a question as much as an exercise that is often fun for the listeners at home. I would like each of you to take some time and think of 2 truths and 1 lie, but with a twist. Rules. You can't use a public embarrassment story. Sorry, Jackal. That makes it too easy for you. You're not allowed to use numbers at all. Example, it took 7 years, but in truth, it was 6. I like that rule. You're not allowed to use the terms I, me, or myself. This is purely for challenge to make it interesting. I won't lie. LOL. So 2 truths and a lie. Can't use I, me, or myself, numbers, or an embarrassing story. It's tough. I'm regretting putting zero thought into it now.
Okay. 2 truths and a lie.
2 truths and a lie.
And I can't use I, me, or myself.
Correct. Or an embarrassing story.
So do they have to be about me then?
I don't think so.
I assume since I can't use I, me, or myself.
I guess in general.
They have
I also
to be
really like
about
the number
somebody
rule.
else?
Because when you play 2 truths and a lie and someone just does like 7 years ago, just kidding, the lie, it was 6 years ago. I fucking hate that. That shit pisses me off. You're not fun or interesting. So I like that rule.
So I guess then they have to be about other people in my life. That seems to be, I can't use the I, me, myself.
You could just say your name.
I could. 3rd person, right?
Yeah.
I mean, also we have families, so we could just
true.
blast our families to tease them.
Okay.
And then you have to identify what the lie is.
What the lie is, yep.
Hey, this one's hard for me and you, though. Because we know each other.
Yeah. All right, I can go first. This will probably be too easy, but hold on, I need a 3rd one. I thought I had it, and then I realized I only had 2.
Well, that makes me. If it's 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah.
So did you only have 2 truths?
No, I think I had 2 lies.
Oh,
I went the wrong way.
Wrong direction.
Yeah. That's how my brain works. We should have put some thought into this.
Yeah.
Oh. This is really tough. It's the I, me, or myself rule that's really killing it because it has to. I have to think of stuff about people I know. All right, I'm ready. Okay. Dad went to high school with a Bond girl. With a James Bond girl.
Okay.
Ashley has never been in a car accident. And my mom was in the movie Footloose.
I know these answers though. I think the lie. Well, I know your mom. No. Oh, I know what the lie is. Because your mom wasn't in Footloose, but it was filmed in her hometown. Like it was filmed in the town she lived in. Because it was filmed in Lehi, Utah?
Correct.
But if I'm not mistaken, because I remember your mom telling this story. If I'm not mistaken, something happened to be where she couldn't, like, she was going to be an extra, but her parents wouldn't let her, or something. But I remember that it was filmed in her hometown. You said she was in the movie, right?
Correct.
And the other one was that Ashley has never been in a car accident.
Correct. And then my
pretty
dad went to high school with a Bond girl.
That's the only one that I'm not sure on. Well, I can't remember if your mom was in the movie or it was just filmed in her hometown. I think it was that your mom was in Footloose because I think I remember her telling she couldn't be. Oh, or was she in the? No, because she was. She was in the. She was in where they were filming. That's right. She was in there when they were filming the dance at the end, wasn't she? Oh, dang. Because I think she was an extra in. Okay, I'm gonna go with your dad went to school with a Bond villain. That's the or a Bond girl. I think I'm gonna go with that one being the lie.
That's your final answer?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is true. My father, in fact, went to high school with Carrie Lowell, who was the Bond girl, one of the two, in A License to Kill.
I was pretty sure that one was true. Okay, what's the lie?
The lie was about my mom. She was almost in Footloose.
I knew it.
But she
knew
wasn't
that was
in
it.
Her mom wouldn't let. She went to audition to be one of the dancing feet at the beginning of the movie, and it came out that it was going to be a rated R movie, and her mom was like, "You're not going to be a part of that." And then it wasn't rated R. My mom was almost one of the dancing feet at the beginning of the movie because they filmed it.
Man,
they filmed it right up. They didn't film it in her high school, but all the exterior shots of the school are her school.
Are her high school.
Yeah, and
see,
and the mill that they do the final dance at, she lived like across the street from it.
See, and I knew that because I remembered something about like she was gonna be in it, but then
I did it just subtle enough where your brain would be like, no, but it could go either way.
But I knew the story. Like I knew the story. I just couldn't remember if it was about your mom or if it was about somebody else I knew or something. Dang.
Yeah. Also,
I knew Ashley hadn't been in a car accident.
I went to my dad and I was like, you could have dated her. Like you guys went to high school. And I was like, that also would have made it really weird to watch that movie if that was my mom. So
yeah,
if Carrie Lowell was my mom. So thank you for not dating her, Dad.
Thank you for not dating her, comma, Dad. Not.
I mean,
Thank you for not dating her dad.
Also, if my dad had dated her dad, I'd have a very different upbringing. That is true. I'm going to look up her dad now. All right, your turn.
Okay. Okay. Well, gosh, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh, buddy.
Let's see.
Take your time.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to do so bad at this.
Ooh. Okay.
See, the main reason I'm going to do bad at this, folks, is because I trust Russell so much, so I'm going to assume he told me 3 truths. I can't imagine a world where Russell would lie to me. He's constipated. Here we go.
I can't use my.
Can't use my.
You did. You said my dad.
Nope, I just said dad, and you knew what I meant.
Okay. Dad.
Okay.
Is related to both William Longshanks and William Wallace.
Ooh. He's got the bone structure. Okay, that's one.
Okay.
We got one.
Gideon.
Okay.
His favorite food is popcorn.
Ooh. Okay. Oh, that's a good one. One more.
Hmm. 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 Nobody really knows what pop does. We just know it's related to missile defense. And he has told me, if I told you, I'd have to kill you. And I 100% believed him.
You just said I, so that's out of the window now.
Oh. He has told me that
Yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is.
he told me he would have to kill me.
That one I know is true because you've told me that one before.
And it was believable.
Yeah, you've told me that one before. I'm going to go with Gideon's favorite food is popcorn.
That's
it's a
correct.
really good, I thought so, yeah. I'm like, that's a good one, but I don't think it's popcorn.
It's not. His favorite food is cheese puffs, actually.
I knew it. And seeing your dad, like he's got the bone structure for it. I totally believed it.
You don't even know what Longshanks and William Wallace looked like.
I've watched movies, dude.
They're not the actors.
Well, that's what I pictured, and I was still right. So fuck you, dude. Doesn't matter how I got there. I got there.
Yes, I am related to both William Longshanks and William Wallace.
Yeah, Clay, I don't have a time machine. Jesus, dude.
Which, I mean, honestly, isn't that surprising since they were both nobility. Like, they were on either side of a war, but...
That's true. That's true. I got to scroll up. There's a lot of chatters having just some gamers. I need to find. There was another one not too long ago. Nope. Oh, here we go. The danger. I was thinking about something the other day and was curious if you guys ever talked about it. We're of the age where different media pushed video games, like the movie The Wizard trying to push and hype the Power Glove. It's so bad.
Yep.
Do you ever think about where this type of marketing to gamers actually worked? Where this actually worked. Where they tried to push something
In a game.
in a different media to push to video gamers. So the Power Glove was not successful, so they pushed it in the movie to make people want to buy it.
Are we specifically talking about retail or just like are we talking about what are they called? It is an accessory.
Correct.
Are we specifically talking about an accessory or just like
I would say
something where they advertised like something in gaming as part of a different media source that worked?
I would say that, yeah.
I got to go with Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves then.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. Oh, what a good movie.
Because freaking it is the only Dungeons and Dragons game that's worked, or movie
yeah,
that has worked.
Very successful.
And it was so good. And
incredible.
Chris Pine has said it's a matter of it's a matter of when, not if, when they're doing another one. So
you could tell.
I hope they do.
So everyone had so much fun.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah,
well, it was a really good movie.
Yeah.
Like, and it was successful. I don't think it was successful as much as they wanted it to be, but it was also during COVID, wasn't it? Or just after COVID?
Yeah.
So it was a good movie. Like, if you haven't seen Honor Among Thieves, Dungeons and Dragons, go and watch it. Great use of practical effects.
Absolutely. CGI is very on point as well. It doesn't look cheesy or anything. The humor is great. The hard hitting moments hit hard. The music is fantastic. The camera work, direct. Everyone looked like everyone was so on board with what their character was that it worked.
And they pull in the tropes that you get as part of a party. Like the paladin definitely being the DM's NPC PC.
And
all
just being
the stuff that just
ties
together. No.
So good.
The huge chunky dragon.
So good. So and the intricate puzzle to get across the bridge. And then it's just like, oh, you gave me DM, you gave me this powerful item forever ago and forgot you gave it to me. I can just skip your puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've already messed up the puzzle, and then it's the GM going, "Hey, you remember that thing
I gave
that
you a
you
while ago?"
have?"
And the
It's
end
special.
fight and the end fight actually being rounds of combat, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only thing that was like, was the, which again, it actually kind of fits with like the D&D theme of like, here is this crazy thing that shouldn't work, but otherwise the whole party dies. So
Correct.
the GM's just going to make it work where
Make
they
it
blow
work.
up and then they end up going up through the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you guys are screwed. So I guess,
We'll
yeah, that's
work.
cool.
Yeah, that sounds.
That's cool. Let's do it.
We've all done that as DMs. Yeah, no, it sounds cool. So I guess we'll make that work. My favorite DM note I've ever seen from someone was in a thread where they were talking about like DMs when you had a puzzle where people could not figure it out. What did you do to like just like push it along? And one of the guys was like, one of them was just like, I always just say yes to the third thing my party does, no matter what the puzzle is. Whatever the third thing they guess, I go, yep, you got it. It worked. I was like, that's
There you
hilarious.
go. Bingo.
Yeah.
If we want another example of like an accessory, I would say Home Alone 2, where he has like the talk.
Oh,
the
yeah.
I wanted one of those so bad.
I would say, just because of the timing of it and everything, is like where VR was at the time that the movie Ready Player One launched. Really pushed that technology forward because there a lot more money went into it, which let them actually make it more interesting. And then the sales of VR went through the roof after Ready Player One came out. Because that technology was not there.
Which, can we talk about? He drove backwards, man.
He drove backwards.
He drove backwards, and you're telling me that a group of gamers that all over the world are playing this game have never tried to drive backwards?
This is also
in 40 years?
This is also from the same book, where in the book, the first puzzle can only be solved where it happens to be where a poor kid can't leave the island. I mean, I'm just saying.
That makes more sense than driving backwards.
None of it makes sense, but it's fun.
It makes sense, right? You would want to hide something, and Halliday was trying to make it accessible to anybody and everybody. So even a poor person who couldn't leave that planet, they would still have access to it. So it makes sense. And also, it's hidden. Like, who would expect to go to a school? And you still had to go through the dungeon and get to the end of the dungeon and then beat a Serac in Joust.
Well, that always cracked me up because there's multiple school islands, and it happened to be the one he was at.
There was only the one school planet.
Really? Was there?
And
I
it wasn't.
Thought there was multiple. I'll have to go back and read.
There was only the one school planet.
Okay, I might admit, because I remember the first time going through that, I was like, "Well, that's fucking convenient."
Yeah, there was only the one school planet.
Okay,
but he had to go to like a different place on the planet.
Okay, for some reason I thought there was multiple, and it happened to be on the one he was on. I was like, "All right, dude." No. But to this day, I'm still proud. Was it the third puzzle? I figured it out before I got to that point in the book, and I was very proud of that.
I'm trying to remember what the third
was. The third puzzle was all about music, and then an album from Rush.
Rush.
Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, I know where this is going," and then I figured it out, and like 5 pages later, he figured it out. I was like, "Ah!" I was very excited about that.
That book is good.
It's really also the audio book with Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton is so good.
Yeah. I've heard Ready Player 2 is okay.
I've heard mixed things. I haven't checked into it, but I definitely want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked Ready Player 1 enough to be like, I could revisit that world.
Yeah. We should do an episode on this. This is from Hurdle. This will be the last one I think we have here.
Mm-hmm.
But he says, "Thought for JSG, since you've done protagonists and antagonists, you should do companions and lackeys. So people like Cortana, Yoshi, Claptrap. I definitely want to do a whole episode about this, and we have to have him on. But just to throw a random one out there, like for just best companions. Just throw a random one out there that just immediately when someone says a companion in a game, bam, what pops out of your head?
Probably Cassandra from Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shadowheart, Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Blaze too. Actually, all the companions.
All the companions in Baldur's Gate. Yeah.
Actually, the first one that popped into my head was, oh gosh, what's his name? From Mass Effect.
Oh, Garrus. Yeah, Garrus is the fucking man, dude. Also, Dom from the Gears of War 1, 2, and 3. Fantastic companion.
I never really got into him. I played the first one, couldn't beat the final boss, and then I didn't. Other than
we'll find a way.
Played co-op.
We did our Halo playthrough. I will find a way for us to do a Gears of War playthrough
we still need to finish that because I don't think we ever finished Halo 4.
We didn't. We dropped off that one really fast.
No, we got through Halo 2 and 3.
We got through 1, 2, 3, ODST, and Reach. We played a couple hours of 4, and I don't know if it just didn't stick.
I don't think we started 4. I think we finished Reach. Did we?
We did start it. Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm very sure.
I think we just got busy.
Positive. That could be. Anyway, but yeah, we'll have to do Gears of War because 2 is phenomenal and 3 is an incredible game.
Yeah.
So there we go. We don't ask for questions in the Discord, but if you have random thoughts and stuff you want, you can throw it in the Just Some Gamers channel in my Discord, and we'll discuss it here. That's what we got going on.
I think you meant we don't ask for questions in chat because we do ask for them in Discord.
We do. Well, we don't actually do that either.
We don't ask for them.
We don't ask. That's it. We don't have here's our guest. Ask some questions for we don't do that basic give us a bunch of questions for this week to answer. What's your favorite hot dog? If you were a sandwich, what color would your mom's left toe be? We don't do that kind of stuff. But if you have a random thing, throw it in there. We'll take care of it. It's all good. It's all good.
Blue waffle.
All right, man, when you moved
Hematoma.
And your little brother wanted me to hang out all the time, it was just so awkward to just be there with him and your mom and just be like, yep, we're hanging out. But it's hilarious to look back on it. And if I could have recorded it and sent it to you, it was so awkward to the best degree. It was so good.
I think I'm okay not knowing.
Yeah. You're good. Well, anything else before we get out of here then, buddy?
No, that's it for me.
You're beautiful and handsome. I love everything about you.
You're beautiful.
Oh my God. Well, let's get out of here. Jimmy Carter died, so I get next Thursday off. Pour one out for the homie.
Wait, what? Jimmy Carter died, so you get next Thursday off.
Yeah, we always get a president funeral. Whenever there's a president's funeral, we get that day off. Federal employees, baby.
Government thing.
Yeah. So in the best way, when one pop, we go, fuck you. Yeah, it's bad, but we get excited.
I mean, look, the way things are going, Trump and Biden are both 78.
Yeah.
So
there's a few that are getting up there. We could have some. The worst was Bush when he passed because it was in the middle of Christmas season.
Oh,
that sucked. We got that day off and we could not catch up the rest of the Christmas season. Having that day after a holiday during the middle of peak season. Oh my dude, we were behind for it took us 2 weeks after Christmas to get caught up from that. Oh, that one sucked.
Yikes.
So this one happening right afterwards. Peak. Thank you, Jimmy Carter. Appreciate you. 39th president of the USA. Where can the good people find you, buddy?
You can find me here. I'm around. I'm in the Discord, chilling. I probably won't respond, despite my best efforts.
Yep.
I will probably get around to it at some point if it makes you feel any better.
It does.
I hop around. I'm usually in Valheim, Star Citizen, Space Marines, Helldivers 2, Marvel Rivals, which I haven't gotten to play in a minute, but I want to. All those places. I'll probably, TikTok, I don't know. People are saying it's going to get banned, so I don't know.
Someone will
yeah.
come in and buy it and rebrand it, and it'll be the same thing, and it's fine.
At some point, I'll probably do a YouTube channel just because, if you want to be an author, apparently that's what you have to do now. So
it's true, man. Well, it's like, it's funny how that works with everything now. Like just being like even streaming, like just streaming, there's no way to be found out. Like you have to be on every platform out there also. So yeah, it's crazy the amount of people that are doing things you wouldn't expect to need to be on 100 platforms that are like, here's my underwater basket weaving. Please buy my stuff. And they're on 8 platforms to try to get that going.
You can find me on Twitter. That's DRJX, JEX 0725.
That's beautiful, buddy. You're beautiful.
You're beautiful.
I've thoroughly enjoyed spending so much time with you, buddy.
It's true.
It's true. What also is true is that we enjoyed having you here to listen to episode 133 of Just Some Gamers. When we do the show,
Holy
we are
crap.
live. Yeah, 133, baby. We are live on my Twitch channel Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Please check us out. We're on podcatchers everywhere. Here shortly, I'm going to sit down and get everything set up so I can move. Due to how things are recorded and edited, I have all the VODs for each podcast. So I'm going to sit down sometime soon and get all of those up onto our YouTube channel. It's a lot of pre-work to get it done, but once the pre-work is done, it's going to be so easy to do. So it's just getting me to do the pre-work.
Maybe just skip the first 50 or something.
Well, those are all up. It's since we've come back.
Oh.
Yeah. All of our old episodes are still there. I just haven't been able to upload all them since we've come back.
Since our production values have gone up by a very small amount.
The sweatpants are comfy, dude. That's all I want to say, dude. To this day, the hardest I've ever heard you laugh. It's so funny that was the thing that got you.
Where's all this money coming from, Brett?
Wearing fucking sweatpants with suspenders. Oh, so good. As for myself, I'm ELMMMERFUDD. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all those places at ELMMMERFUDD Games. Double M, double D. Also, Microsoft, fuck you for getting rid of Paint 3D. You piece of shit. That's my life force. I've made all my thumbnails, tournament banners, everything has been done in Paint 3D for like 7 years. I hate you so much for getting rid of it.
Shame on you.
Shame on you. Makes me so fucking mad.
Shame. I know your name.
Shame. That's true. All right. Hey, Rusty Poo. Buddy.
Was it time?
It's time. Why don't you take us out?
It's time. Got to make love to the mic on this one. Bring it in.
Do it.
Bring it in close.
Yeah, baby.
Join us next week on Just Some Guardians for
Gamers,
Mutual
you piece of
Chaos.
shit. You haven't done that in 30 episodes.
Crap.
Wow.
Join us next week on Just Some Gamers for Mutual Chaos and Utter Incompetency.
And you just got a sneak peek at the utter incompetency, folks.
You're welcome.
Wow, you haven't done that in a long time.
I was really focusing on it, and I'm so used to Just Some Guardians.
No, it's funny. We have done like 20 episodes since we've come back, which is crazy. But
yeah,
it's so funny to go back and like we changed all of our stuff to Just Some Gamers, and I think we recorded 3 episodes.
Yeah,
and then stopped. So it's like, I mean, I get it. Really, it's been 3 years, but really, it's only been a handful of episodes. Yeah, that's a good time.
you're a good time.
Depression's a hell of a jug.
What?
Yeah, it's a hell of a jug, dude.
Did you say depression is a hell of a jug?
Yeah, man. You don't chug down your depression?
Chug or a jug?
Both. You chug out of a jug.
I am so confused on the flip from I enjoy you to depression is a hell of a jug.
Well, you see, because we'd stopped recording, right?
Oh.
Depression.
I'm back with you. I'm back with you.
Hell of a jug, and I was chugging out of the jug of depression. Hence the
I
stopping recording.
got you.
Okay, good. And I got you, babe.
Now I'm on the same page with you.
I got you, babe.
It goes down with a little bit of sugar. It goes down
It
better.
does. Everything goes down.
Lots
a
of
little
sugar.
better.
And some grease, some bacon.
Full of grease and some bacon makes your heart stop. Make your heart go stop. Also,
Makes your
speaking
heart
of James
go
Bond from
stop.
earlier, folks, rewatch the movie The Rock with Sean Connery and
Yeah.
Nicolas
Cage, right? Yeah.
Go into the movie picturing Sean Connery's character being a continuation of James Bond. It's such a better movie. It's a great movie anyway, but people have actually sat down and done the timeline between like, because in the movie The Rock, they say he was an agent back in the day, right? Was arrested, escaped 6 months later, went back overseas to do another mission, and then came back and turned himself in. Is the storyline in The Rock, right? His second to last Bond movie ends with him going to prison. Okay? The next movie, the movie starts and the girl is like, "Where have you been for the last 6 months?" And he does some suave thing about it. So like, it's not supposed to be that way, but it's just funny how the line perfectly.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Everything lines up. It's such a good movie if you watch it thinking of him as James Bond. It's so good.
I might have to do a James Bond marathon here.
You should, dude. That was the most fun a couple years ago, and me and Lisa did that. We bought the whole set on DVD and just.
I've got DVDs somewhere of James Bond.
Would have been
I
so
might just
great.
do it on Amazon.
The thing, obviously I'm sad. Sean Connery being dead is just awful in every level. But
wait, he's dead?
Yeah. That was really funny when that happened. What was that, like 6 episodes ago? You were blown away. But
no, that was like earlier this week.
Yeah, I think you're right. Could you imagine one of the Daniel Craig movies where Sean Connery was the villain?
I would have loved that. I don't think we ever
incredible.
Did we ever get a movie with Sean Connery as a villain?
No. Well, as a villain, maybe. I don't know I feel like he had to have done a movie as a villain at some point. But how insane that would have been for the first Bond to be like a villain in the Daniel Craig movie. It would have been insane.
That would have been really cool.
It would have been insane. I expect you to die.
No, Mr. Bond.
No, Mr.
I expect you to die.
I love gold. Sean Connery, villain? Let's see if he was ever a villain. Sir August De Winter is the main antagonist of the 1998 spy action comedy film The Avengers. He's a ruthless and sociopathic mad scientist.
Okay. And here is the funny thing about that. Because when we were talking about it, I was like, wasn't he a villain in The Avengers? So, and I was like, no, I don't remember that.
I haven't seen this movie in forever. I'm looking at screenshots and going, I have seen this.
Oh, it's bad.
I have to see this again.
It's bad.
Thurman and leather? Come on.
I can't believe that I reached into the very back of my brain to the very dusty shelves and found that little tidbit of knowledge about a movie that almost nobody has seen and went,
yeah, there's the thing.
Wasn't he a villain in The Avengers?
It makes me like, I love Sean Connery with every fiber of my being, right?
Yeah.
The poor guy, and that's sort of his fault, sort of not. But he was in so many really bad movies.
Was he really?
It makes me sad. He was great. I love the man. But,
I mean,
he was in
have
some
you ever
movies.
seen Zardoz?
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, that is a costume choice.
Woof.
Woof and woof to the max. Bow wow. Well, actually, I wanted to watch First Night tonight. I was talking about that with someone at work earlier, and I was like, I really want to watch First Night. I haven't watched that movie in a while.
To brother, yours, mine, life and death.
As your last act as king, I order you to fight. He was a great Arthur. And dude, the costume, dude, his fucking, the Camelot getup in First Night, oh my God, it looks so fucking comfy. That shade of blue with the one pauldron. Yeah. Oh,
I gotta go back and watch that.
It's a great movie.
I think the first time I saw it was with you.
I think you're right. It's not one of my favorites, but it's definitely like a movie that I go back to a lot because it just holds a spot, you know? Like the
well, you always quoted it. We'd give each other a hug and you'd slap me on the back. And,
yeah.
Brother to brother.
Yours and mine and death. And then the Disney Three Musketeers movie with fucking everyone's in it. Jack Bauer, what's that guy's name?
Keith Sutherland.
Keith Sutherland's in it. God damn it.
Is it Keith or Keith?
I don't know.
I think it's Keith Sutherland.
Where is it?
Yeah, the Three Musketeers, the Disney one.
Yeah, the Disney one. Charlie Sheen, Kiefer Sutherland, Chris O'Donnell, Oliver Platt, Tim Curry. Great movie.
Tim Curry as the Cardinal is so good.
So good, man.
Cardinal Richelieu. I really like. There was
you
one
might have
called
made a fine musketeer, but now we'll never know, will we?
I like The Musketeer. That one was pretty good too. That one has a really cool sword fight where they're on the ladders.
Mm-hmm. Joe, I actually did enjoy, which made me sad. It's very weird, but it was the Three Musketeers one with the Orlando Bloom as the villain.
Is that the TV show?
No, it was a movie, and it was like very over the top and very campy, but like I really enjoyed it. Let me find it. Was it 2011? Yeah, that's the one. Logan Lerman, Mila Jovovich, the Resident Evil lady, Orlando Bloom, Christoph Waltz.
Where he's the Duke of Buckingham.
Yeah, Christoph Waltz is the Cardinal.
Oh, this was the more recent one where it was like steampunk.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Oof, I don't know if I can agree with you on that one. I agree with you on a lot of things.
I don't mean good as in like it was compelling. It was
there were some cool parts.
It was a fun movie, man. There's times movies can just be fucking fun. And that was a really fun movie.
I don't even know if it was. There were some cool parts.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
But I remember walking out of the theater going, I just wasted
poor
money watching that movie.
I liked it. I'm a very easy laugh. I'm very easy to entertain.
Yeah.
It saves me a lot of money, right? Like I am very easily amused and entertained, and that's okay with me.
Well, and I can appreciate a movie for just being a cool movie. Violent Night, right? Not a great movie.
No, but a really fun ride.
Well, one of my favorites just because it's fun.
So good. There was a brand new Musketeer movie that came out last year. I definitely want to see it. It was made in France, like from that French company.
Yeah, it's like a foreign. Yeah.
That looked
I think you sent me a trailer.
Yeah.
All right, I got to go.
Oh, yeah. I should probably. We're going to end the stream. Hey, thanks for watching, everyone. Love you all. Watch First Night, watch The Three Musketeers, play Helldivers 2, and don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys.